Hello everyone, welcome to another Footmarks. I'm Varun and I'm joined by Jarrod as always. Today's Footmarks is quite interesting. It might be the most rogue one we've done because so recently there's obviously trade talks happening with IPL teams, isn't there? And Jarrod obviously hates how trades work in general, but that might be a whole other podcast
No,
entirely,
I
right?
love how trades work. I hate how cricket trades work.
Yeah, you hate especially IPL trades, right? You despise them. So I,
Yes.
I don't remember if we discussed this before. I just randomly thought about this because I was like, what would happen if we had trades in Test cricket across history? I think I initially wanted this to be different eras, cross era trades, right? I
Yep.
think you said it might be simpler for us to just do same era for now, and then if this works out well, we can always do cross era trades as well. And also,
Yep.
just want to say, in this scenario, I'm going to assume ODIs and T20s don't exist. This is just purely Test cricket, right? Because otherwise, that's just a whole additional level of complication that I can't be asked to deal with, right?
Yeah, I think just from our perspective, like it makes a lot more
Yeah.
sense if we're just thinking about the one format. I mean, imagine if you did have cross-format trades, it would be actually wild. I also like the idea of teams in the future of like one player playing for one team in one format and playing for another team in another format. But that's, you know,
Also,
something for another day.
cash trades don't exist. Otherwise, BCCI would just buy everyone. No.
Yeah, and also obviously it's trickier for us because we're not factoring in drafts or anything, so it has to be trades where like two teams get something out of it. Because you could do a trade. I think I can't remember who it was. Someone in our group chat said, who would Bangladesh trade for in 1998, right? And I was like, well, they don't have anyone to trade anyone else, but they could say you could have our best player in 2005, our best player in 2010, our best player in 2015, or our second best player, however you want to rank them, right, at that stage. And you could actually come up with something really, really cool, but we don't really have a structure for that at the moment. So we're literally just looking at players trading spots and trying to make it as fair as possible to both teams. Well, I should say maybe not, but attempting to make.
Yes, yeah, obviously. So because these trades I have listed down get very complex. So I'm just going to start off with the more simple one. Like I was thinking about this. I don't know what we landed on. In the current era, Australia obviously don't really have reliable openers, right? And India will always appreciate fast bowling depth. Would KL Rahul for Scott Boland be an interesting trade? They're similar ages too, right?
Yeah, I think the problem there is that if you're similar ages as a batter or a bowler, you're not actually similar ages, right? The other problem I think you have with that trade is you need to tell me exactly when you're going to make that trade.
Let's say now, maybe not now because
So I don't think
Cummins
you
is
trade for
injured.
a
So
36-year-old seam bowler. Am I wrong?
that's fair. Yeah, I can see the argument there.
Right. I'm not saying no team would ever do it, but if I'm India, wouldn't I be looking at? I was going to say Michael Neser, but he's about 30. Wouldn't I be looking at Spencer Johnson or Riley Meredith or I was going to say Fergus O'Neill. He might be a little bit slow, but someone else.
Lance Morris.
Yeah, someone else like that, of like something that you don't necessarily have. And I think you want two of them as well. If it's not
KL
Scott
Rahul?
Boland level talent, right?
Okay.
The interesting trade might have been KL Rahul for Jai Richardson, right? And India just goes, if we get him fit, it's incredible. And if not, okay, we lose a little bit by losing KL Rahul, but we've got 4 or 5 other options that we can rotate through that position. And if Jai Richardson comes off, right, like he can be that second best bowler behind Bumrah, and him and Siraj might be the future leaders of the attack, right? Like, so there's something to be said of that, but you're taking a bit of a punt. So maybe again, you ask for KL Rahul plus Jai and let's say Lance Morris. Would Australia give who's Australia more likely to get rid of, Morris or Meredith? Probably Meredith.
Meredith,
right?
Yeah, Meredith.
Right? Is that fair?
Yeah,
What do you
I
think
think
of
that's
that?
fair. That is an interesting trade, isn't it? Because you're giving up, let's say, Kera, who probably has like, if he does what we think he does, he should be good for like 3 or 4 years, right? Assuming he has that like Graham Gooch level end to his career.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. He's a fit guy, right? Like he could drop off straight away. I think if you're Australia, you have to check. You would do your due diligence to see if he is the age he says he is, right? Like I know that's not always possible, but you would do some work, right, to see has he fudged his age by a year or two, just because you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, from my whatever I know, Karnataka is usually quite reliable with the ages.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're doing your due diligence, I think you're happy with that. What about KRL for Scott Boland in 2021?
Yeah, I think we talked about this, right? That's the other one we were thinking of.
I think
Immediately
that's
after the
more
Ashes.
interesting. Yeah, I think that's more interesting.
Yeah.
Because KL's not like a hugely respected player in India at that point, is he?
No, so I think that would be interesting because that's, if I'm remembering, that's when KL makes a comeback. He has a good England tour and he makes 100 in South Africa, right? But the one of the reasons I don't know if India would do this because I don't think India respects Scott Boland by then, right? India truly start getting into the Scott Boland train after the World Test Championship final.
So when's that? 2023?
23. Yeah.
He's
And KL
already
Rahul's not
34 then, isn't he?
Yeah, and KL Rahul's not in India's good graces, so they might still be happy with that trade, right? Because KL was dropped by the...
Okay, so if you're Australia then...
Yeah,
right,
I don't know if Australia would go for it.
Well, you don't have a great backup.
Yeah.
Do you flip that trade at that stage? You go, if you want Boland, we're more than happy to give you him, but we also want a young player, right? So we want a young potential opener. I'm trying to think of someone who wasn't...
The greatest heist to Australia would be going Boland for, like, I don't know, like a young Jaiswal before he debuts. Right? That would be the greatest heist.
I don't think you get Jaiswal. I think you probably need someone... I don't think Sai Sudarshan was that highly rated in 2023, was he?
No, was he? I don't even know if he plays much by then.
So can you steal a Sudarshan? What about this?
It's a Gaikwad. I'll throw in a Gaikwad as well. Fuck
Gaikwad? I was thinking KL Rahul and Prithvi Shaw.
In 2023 or 2021?
In 2023.
2020 was like, I don't know if Prithvi Shaw was rated at all by that point, was he?
No, but
I think, is that why you want him?
He's an incredible talent, and you think you can get him fit, right? And you can get him on the right mindset, and you maybe throw in one of these sort of backup-y bowlers as well. So you get Scott Boland and one other decent quality seamer, right? Name unknown at the moment, but you get someone like that, and we get a secondary batter who isn't in your plans to be used in the next couple of years, right? And Australia has to take a punt and hope that they're right and one of them comes off, right? And then they get KL Rahul in the short term and they get a good player in the long term, and India get a younger fast bowler coming through and they get an older one now. That's a pretty good trade if I'm India, right? I think to myself, I've got genuine second or third seam bowling option for the next 3 to 4 years, hopefully. We haven't lost much with the bat, right? We've lost a little bit of flexibility with the wicket keeping, and we've given away someone who isn't in our plans over the next 3 to 4 years, and we think we have other backups or other players who will be better or of a similar quality. And Australia's like, we get a batter for now and a batter for 4 years' time, right? So maybe it's not Prithvi Shaw. It might be more... I'm not saying Sai Sudarshan directly, but a Sai Sudarshan type, right? Like that kind of player who was on the fringes in 2023. So I think if you do that, both teams win.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. They both get exactly what they want. Bumrah has a genuine second option available to him, right? And Australia get a genuine opening batter. And then they both take a flyer on things that they have, that they have backups of, right?
So the other trade I was thinking of, I don't know if any teams would go for this, is England need a spinner right now, right? Could India trade Kuldeep Yadav for like 3 or 4 English seamers? I don't know. Would that work? Maybe like I'm thinking someone like Potts or
I don't think you trade Kuldeep Yadav, do you? I think you trade Akshar Patel.
Akshar Patel. Yeah, that's interesting. I like it. The other one would be like a Tanush Kotian or Sai Kishore for like one of their backups, right? Yeah.
But how much cricket? How old is Akshar Patel?
34, I want to say.
He's younger than Jadeja. How old is Ravi Jadeja?
He's 36, right? It's
right. So how many years are you getting as Akshar Patel as your frontline left-arm finger spinner?
Not that long. That's assuming his bowling is still good for Test cricket, right?
Right. So if you give up Akshar now, right, you then you're not losing a lot in the future with that, and you still have Kuldeep available to you, right? And you still have Sai Kishore and these other. There's the other left-arm finger spinner that Robbie likes as well coming through.
Manav Sutar and there's Harsh Dubey.
Yeah. So there's like 4. You've got 2 other left-arm finger spinner options, maybe 3 other left-arm finger spinner options if we're going all in, and a left-arm wrist spinner, right? And you got Washington.
Yeah, Tanush Kotian is an offie as well.
And you've got Washington. Right.
Yes.
So you get rid of Akshar and you say, okay, so you want seamers. Right. So who do you take for him? Josh Tongue?
Let's go with Tongue and Potts. Why not?
Oh, you need more than that.
We need more than that. Tongue Pots and someone else then.
Yeah, it needs to be Tongue Pots. Do you want...
Would they give up Brighton Cost or is he in the first 11?
No, you can't. They can't give up Cast, I don't think, for this.
They won't give up Cost.
I mean, I'm not saying they can't. Yeah, so their frontline bowlers at the moment are Jofra. What about... Yeah, Jofra, Wood,
Atkinson.
Cast, Atkinson. So I think if I'm England, I say those are untouchable. Right?
Agreed.
But if you want 3 of the others with a youngster, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go Josh, Tongue, Potts, I'm trying to think of some of the others that
What's
have played.
the good farming stock? Josh Hull.
Hull.
Yeah.
Do you give Robertson?
Who's Robinson?
Ollie Robertson?
Ollie Roberts. Oh, Ollie Roberts. If he's still around, I completely forgot he existed.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, might as well.
Or Sam Cook.
Sam
right?
Cook, yeah. I think
Someone
I'd
like
take
that.
Cook over Robinson, probably.
Yeah, but I'm saying someone like that who is a little bit slower, but is still quite important. Now, I think this is worth it for England. Because this changes your side completely. If you have, you can bat, what? Stokes at 6.
No,
Smith
Jamie Smith
at 7
is
and Akshar at 8.
Correct, yep, that works.
Right? Then you've got 9, 10, 11 as whichever seamers you want to bring in. And surely they can find 3 fit seamers fairly fairly consistently over that kind of time. You could even give them... Who's the guy from Warwickshire? Oh, my God. Who they think's going to come back now? Warwickshire. Ollie Stone.
Ah, yes, of course, yes.
So Hull or Stone. So they have to keep one of Hull or Stone, right?
Yeah.
They're going to keep the... they're going to keep...
They probably keep Stone, I would imagine.
Oh, with India's obsession with all-rounders, do you give them Overton?
I don't know if would India take Overton?
I mean, I wouldn't, but they like all-rounders, right?
Yeah, Gambhir definitely likes them, so yeah.
So you offer them him. So I think Josh Tongue, I would think they would want Josh Tongue because he's not like any Indian bowler, right?
That's
so
right.
I would take him straight away if I'm India.
I think Potts is also a very useful stock bowler.
I wonder if Potts is too similar to Siraj.
How is he similar to Siraj?
Similar pace, both angling the ball back in, wobble ball guys, a little bit.
For me, I think like Siraj is still. I wouldn't say Siraj is a stock bowler. So for me, Potts gives me stock bowler vibes.
Maybe they're slightly different parts of the. I was more thinking release points and everything else there.
That's fair.
Then you take one of Hull or Stone, depending on what you're looking for there, and then you take one of the sort of stock seamers that England have 83 of, right?
Yes.
I don't know how old Jamie Porter is, but you just offer them like a bunch of Bhuvi Kumar backups, right? Like if Bhuvi's not going to play anymore, all these other guys. I mean, does India say yes to that?
I think so because they're not assuming again. We're assuming ODIs don't exist, right? So yes, I think they might. They probably would. I reckon. I think both teams would like it, right?
So what does that give you there? That gives. I'm just trying to think if you're India, that means you have Bumrah, Shami,
Siraj. I don't know if they'll put Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, Prasidh, Akashdeep.
Yeah, but then you've
Harshit
got
Rana. Then let's say you have Potts, Tongue, and Stone. I don't know.
It's a pretty good lineup, but it's almost. I wonder if they might think it's too much. I wonder if it might be worth them trying to get one of Carson Atkinson, and you just go, well, we will do Akshar for one of those two, because England have the depth. They can change things behind the scenes as well. Just say, you tell us which one you want, and we'll give you one of those. But that's all you get, or you get depth. And maybe if it's Tongue, you only get 3. If you want Tongue, you can have 2 other seamers. And if it's not Tongue, we'll give you 4.
Yeah, that works, right?
Yeah.
And the other one would be like a Saika show for one of the New Zealand seamers. Like they have like 8 or 9 of them, right?
Yeah. I mean, who's the New Zealand seamer you give up?
Like, what was the guy who was doing well versus England recently? Like, is it Folkes? That's not him. God, what's his name?
Zach Fulks.
Zach Folkes, yeah, that's him.
How old Saika?
It's 30 something, no?
I don't think you give away up a 22-year-old seamer for a 30-year-old spinner.
Oh, is it 22? I didn't realize it was that young.
I could
So
be wrong.
Saikishore is 28, so...
28. I suppose he's a spinner.
How old is Mitch Santner?
I'd want... Do you know what I would want? I would want an... If it's folks, I'd want someone else. Mitch Santner's got to be 35-ish, right?
Could you not argue that if they get Saikishore, you'd have a decent backup?
I don't know. Can you have Saikishore and Mitch Santner together?
Not in the same team, but like as a backup. Like, you know Santner's going to go
Who's the
out at some
backup,
point.
though, in this situation?
Kishore, no?
Well, he's a
I
better
think
bowler than Santner, isn't he?
Is probably is a better bowler than Santner, yes. Yes. Not as good a batter.
No, but I'm just saying, if you have Santner, don't you try and get a wrist spinner or an off spinner?
Half a year. I think if I'm India and I want to trade Tanush Kotian, I'd want 2 bowlers then. I don't think I'd trade Tanush Kotian for just one.
Okay, so where are we here? So yeah, so I think just trying to think of who the New Zealand seamers are over the last little while of like.
What was it? You have Duffy, Folks.
So what do we do? If we do the last 2 years of New Zealand seamers.
I'm just going to check the recent ODIs. Might be the easiest way to know.
Yeah, but we're talking Test cricket, as you've told me.
Yeah, I think it
83 times.
roughly gives me the idea. I think it's the latest one they played, and I know almost all their frontline attack was injured.
Okay, so you're not giving up Henry O'Rourke.
No, of course not. You won't give. Oh, I don't think. Would they give up Jameson? I wouldn't think so.
You can't give up Jameson, can you? In case he gets fit again.
Blair Tickner.
You can give up Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
Blair Tickner is interesting as well.
Right.
Does Duffy and Tickner get the deal done?
Yeah, for who? Saikishore or Tanush Kotian? I've already forgot which one we're talking about.
Either of them, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely, right? I think that might be too overkill for like Saikishore because Saikishore is 28, right?
Can you throw in a if you throw in one international quality bowler now and one future one, right? That's the best option for India, isn't it? You get one bowler that you know goes into your rotation straight away, and you know that the other one comes into the future. Can you give them Kugelin?
For moral reasons, no.
Just like and say to Gambia, you like all rounders.
Oh, okay.
We'll throw Kugelin in for a second younger spinner. The best one of the other younger spinners as well. And just see if Gambia bites.
Well, like for who? Like a Rahul Chahar type bowler?
No. For like a really, you just say if you got like, we've had a look at your depth chart. We think this guy's your 8th best young spinner. Mm-hmm. We'll take him for Kugelin, right?
Oh God, okay.
And just see if they do it. Because the 8th best spinner in India might be the 2nd or 3rd best spinner in New Zealand, right?
I'd imagine so.
So why not just do that and see how you go, right? And might be, as you said as well, what if you get Chahal? Like, what are you losing if you're New Zealand, if it's Kugelin? You're not going to play him anyway. New Zealand have like 1 million Kugelin like type of cricketers anyway. So you get rid of Kugelin, you don't have to worry about the moral implications anymore. And you pick up a aging spinner or a kid spinner.
All right.
I'm not sure if I'm India, I'd go for that. But Gambia, I mean, I wouldn't go for that. But Gambia might go for that, right? Like
Gambir we don't know what Gambir is thinking half the time, right?
Kugelin's a good, he's probably more of an all-rounder than Shardul Thakur, right? I'm not sure he's as good a cricketer, but he's more of an all-rounder, I think, is maybe the way that they would be thinking about. I mean, I definitely wouldn't do that, by the way.
All right. So I think now that we've warmed you guys up with some simple trades, so this is where I think it gets a bit more complicated, Jarrod. So you suggesting
is this because these are the ones I made?
Yes. So like I did the easy stuff, which don't like involve a lot of thinking. So Jarrod just went away for a bit. I just thought was not interested. He comes back with one of the most complex trades I think I've seen. Right. So in 1998, okay, pay attention to this, guys. Okay.
I think when we make this, we're gonna have to get Rakshit to make this graphic, right?
100%. It's so complicated.
And I don't know when you copied it because I reckon I edited it as well. Like it wasn't like I put it up once and was happy with it. I kept going back and changing it, Varun.
So you said in 1998, Sri Lanka give up Murli. Okay. New Zealand give up Vittori, Bond, Craig McMillan and Jeff Allett, right?
Yeah.
South Africa give up Ntini, Klusner, and Herschel Gibbs. Australia give up Matthew Elliott, Shane Lee, or Ian Harvey or Brendan Julian, one of them.
Yep.
Stuart Law, and like one of their backup batters like Cox, Divintu, or Hills. In this case, South Africa will then get Murli. New Zealand would get Herschel Gibbs, Elliott, and Ntini. Sri Lanka would get Shane Lee, well, that sort of all-rounder, Vittori, Bond, and Cox, or that sort of batter. Australia would get Klusner and Allett, right? So I think that's the trade done, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I edited. Because where does Craig McMillan go? I think South Africa get... Oh, yeah. So I think South Africa get Murali and Craig McMillan. Okay. Right? Because they're giving up a lot in this trade, and so they get a little bit back in middle order depth, right? So, yes. Okay, so let's talk about why this works. So Sri Lanka go from having the best single bowler of all time to getting a genuine all-rounder that Australia isn't using, right? Mm-hmm. They lose Murali, but they get Vittori. Remember, so now they have a bowler who's also an all-rounder, right? So that gives them more depth and flexibility. So they're basically, in terms of bowling, they get a seam bowling all-rounder, they get a spin bowling all-rounder, and they get Shane Bond. Now, we're assuming at this stage that these players would go on to have really good careers. We obviously know in Shane Bond's case, that's not the case, right? But that's not the way I could do I can't do the trades that way, right? In my mind, Brendan Julian and Ian Harvey are quite hot prospects at this stage, around 1998 as well, right? And so that's the way I'm kind of doing all that. Yeah. So Sri Lanka go from having Murali to having Vittori, Bond, and let's say Brendan Julian, right?
Okay.
Given a left arm. Oh, actually, they might need Brendan Julian, right? Because they
have us, right?
Yeah. So let's give them Harvey or Lee, right?
Let's go Harvey then.
So they've got 3 bowlers coming back in this trade. One of which we know is a world-class seamer. One of which we know is a world-class spinner, and then and 2 of them are all-rounders. And then they also get another top-order batter. So they have they get
2 batters, right?
Yeah. Who's their Marvin Adipatu?
Cox,
so
right?
So they get Marvin Adipatu, and they get
Jayasuriya will still be around.
Oh, did we give them Stuart Law as well?
Yes, they get Stuart Law.
Yeah. Right. So they get Stuart Law in their middle order, right, for when they're playing teams who are good with fast bowling. And then they get another opener to put with Marvin Adipatu. And they can, or a top order player to put with Marvin Adipatu. So I would pick probably Cox or Hills, even though I think Divinuto's maybe slightly stronger. But just because Cox and Hills can open, right? And neither of them go on to play for Australia. And Australia are not thinking they're going to use either of those guys either. But they're definitely both world-class batters, right? They're both incredible players. Okay, so does Sri Lanka let's just forget all the other countries involved in this. Sri Lanka lose Murali. They get all of these things that we just mentioned. They're better against pace bowling in 2 different positions. They've got 2 all-rounders, and they've got Shane Bond coming back. Do you do the trade of Murali for all of that if you're Sri Lanka?
In 1998, maybe, because Murali doesn't hit his peak yet as a bowler.
But they're already pretty...
They're pretty high on him,
right?
Yeah. They're definitely high on him, but I wonder if... Yeah, they could...
If I'm Sri Lanka, I do this deal.
Yeah,
I just think
both of us would do
another
this deal,
spinner.
right?
Yeah. I just think...
Herat, fuck it. Play Herat. We spent a whole podcast talking about Herat.
Right? We went and had a look. We know they have other spins. And also, yes, they're losing out on spin, but if Vittori plays his whole career in Asia, right, are we really that worried about Vittori, as a bowler?
Yeah, but would they be able to play Vittori and Herat most games together?
I think you can, because they're very different kinds of spin bowlers.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about it, but I just think that they're very different. And so I have no issue with playing the both of them. But that is one of my big concerns. But this is where this gets really fun. And I know you're already like, Jarrod, it seems quite fun already. By the way, Vittori averaged 28 in Asia. Where this gets really fun is you can trade Harath next. You wouldn't do it straight away. You'd see how they go together. And if it doesn't work, you can trade Harath as well. Right? Like with his first-class bowling average of 20 or whatever, you can give him to England or whoever else needs a spinner, West Indies, right? And get rid of Harath. and you get something back from one of those teams that you also need. So Sri Lanka could get even stronger from this. Okay, so we both think that Sri Lanka are okay with this, right? Okay, so let's now go to South Africa. South Africa get Murali.
Yeah, and you said Craig McMillan, right?
And Craig McMillan, sorry, you're right.
Yes.
They get Murali and Craig McMillan. And they lose, if I'm not mistaken, Intini, Klusner, and Herschel Gibbs.
Yes.
Right? Now, we've discussed how they don't use Klusner in the right way anyway, right? Mm-hmm. We have to take the geopolitics out of this because they can't give up Intini in 1998. Right? They can't. But let's just imagine this is purely a cricket thing. If it's just a cricket thing, I am over the moon if I lose Intini, Klusner, and Herschel Gibbs to Murali. Like, if I'm South Africa, I'm like, yes, please. Right? Absolutely. Straight away. I'm more than happy for that. Craig McMillan doesn't move the needle, but he's a throw-in because you have to, because New Zealand get a lot in this trade as well. So they don't get to just, they have to lose something, right? Like if I'm the opposite team, I'm sorry, you have to throw in something else. You can't just lose Bond and Vittori and upscale here. So if I'm South Africa, I take this because I can find other seam bowlers. I can find other seam bowling all-rounders. And I probably don't rate Herschel Gibbs that high at that stage. Wrongly, because by the mid-2000s, we know how good he is. But if I'm South Africa, I'm like, I think this is fair.
Yeah, I think it's a worthwhile trade because that's the one weakness that great South African team has is this lack of spin, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that changes everything. Now they can compete with Australia, yeah?
Yeah. Definitely.
Straight away, they can compete with Australia. All right. Now, the next team is New Zealand. So New Zealand famously can't get any opening batters. And we give them Herschel Gibbs, Matthew Elliott, and Micaiah Intini. So I see Micaiah Intini and Shane Bond as a direct swap in this, right? And you could also send Micaiah Intini to Sri Lanka if they preferred Micaiah Intini to Shane Bond. So there is a flexibility built into this system a little bit, but you have to get Intini into this trade in order for South Africa to lose enough.
Sri Lanka give up Stuart Law and they get Intini. Is that what you're saying? In this trade?
No, I'm saying you would almost give Sri Lanka the option of whether they want Intini or Bond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's the best way of kind of doing that, right? And then, as you said, there could be other flexibilities that could come with that. But I've just done it this way. So what does New Zealand get out of this? They lose Vittori and Bond, right? And Craig McMillan and Jeff Allett. Jeff Allett, they probably see as a French player, and they're not too worried about him, right? They find lots of seamers. So again, I'm not too worried about that. New Zealand lose Vittori, a generational player. But how important is the spinner to New Zealand cricket? They might be thinking... not that important at all, right? That I could be wrong because he's so young and he's going to become an all-rounder. But what they get out of this is, for the first time in their history, a jet opening batting partnership. You've got Herschel Gibbs smashing the ball everywhere at one end, and you've got Matthew Elliott with the widest bat in cricket at the other end, right? Neither of which were needed by their teams at that time or highly valued by their teams, right? And you lose Bond, but you get Intini. Right, which is a slightly different kind of bowler. Again, at that stage, I think Bond should have been rated higher than Intini, but Intini goes on to have the better career. I'm not 100% sure New Zealand do this. They might need something else, right? And maybe what they say is what you just said there is, we would also like Stuart Law, because we see Stuart Law as the better Craig McMillan.
Yes.
Right?
That would be fair? Then you'd have Fleming. Then you'd have Fleming at 3 in that team, I'd imagine. Yeah,
so Fleming bats 3, Stuart Law bats, Astle bats 4.
They already have Chris Gaines, right? They already have Chris Gaines in there.
They've already got an all-rounder. That's part of the reason I did this. They have flexibility built in, right, in a way, and they also don't know how good Vittori's going to be, right? They don't know he's going to become a very good bat late in his career. They think he might, but in this particular team, that boosts that New Zealand team straight away. The issue I would have as a New Zealand fan is, does this make us more likely to win games, or does it make us more likely to draw games? So is there another player that perhaps you could put into this that would help them, right? Like maybe a Steve Elworthy type bowler, right? In fact, it might be the other trade where I threw in Brett Schultz. I'm not sure South Africa would have got rid of Bert Shields. Anyway, I think New Zealand's the iffy team on this trade at the moment, but I also think this makes them a better team than what they were before I did this trade. So they're giving up 4 players, they're getting 3, but one is almost a straight swap, and the other 2 are massive upgrades for me. But they might ask for an extra bowler from one of the teams just to get this done, and that's when you go back to Australia, right? And you find another, I don't know,
adding on to
Andy
that point.
Bickle type guy.
So, sorry, going back to that extra bowler thing, would they ask Sri Lanka to throw in Herat?
No, you can't do that if
You
you're
can't,
Sri Lanka.
would you not?
Because if you're Sri Lanka, if you throw away Harath, you're throwing away your 2 best spinners.
That's true, that's fair.
Yeah, I just don't think you can do that. I like your thinking, and I thought about that. I did already think about that one as well.
Like,
All right.
Would Sri Lanka not have like one of those spinners they just had lying about that they could throw in just as a bonus? Like someone else in their bench.
Yeah, I suppose how old's Kumar Dharmasena at that age? At that time, sorry.
It's a good question.
Right? I was thinking about him. I almost put him in this trade as well.
Kumar would be 27 in 1998.
Yeah, and he's come off winning the 96 World Cup, right?
Yeah. Fuck it, let's throw him in.
Yeah, I think that's an option. All right, and then Australia get Lance Klusener and Jeff Allett, right? Jeff Allett is just to give them a left-arm bowler because they don't have a lot of left-arm bowlers around, right? And that gives them cover if they want to go to England with a left-arm swing bowler. Absolute throw-in this trade. They're giving up Elliott, one all-rounder, Stuart Law, and Cox and Divenuto. They are not giving up a single frontline player.
Yeah.
Yeah?
They're all 4 bench players, right?
Yep. And they're getting Lance Klusener, who's a bit of a project player in 98 as a test player anyway, but could be revolutionary for them. Which also means that in our fantasy lineup, Varun, Gilchrist bats 6 and Klusener bats 7. Or vice versa. Good luck. So good luck going through the entire Australia in order and getting to that. And then Klusener gives them the extra bowling that they need, which allows them to use McGill or Colin Miller whenever they want as the secondary spinner.
Yes.
So they get better.
Yeah. So in the similar time period, actually, I think you suggested one more trade, which is much more simpler.
Well, wait a minute. Does Australia say yes to this?
I'd imagine they would, right? Because you're giving up 4 bench players for an all-rounder, which they need. And Klusener is probably a better all-rounder than he and Harvey at that point, right?
Oh, yeah. You definitely pick Klusener over Harvey. I mean, you know, I mean, he was a genuine. Everyone, I think in '98, people thought he was a frontline bowler, right? And also, he's just much better bat than. I mean, he can bat 6, whereas Harvey's not a 6, right? Yeah. And I think he has more test bowling chops than Harvey.
So also, right? If this is 98, you would have Klusener 6, Ian Harvey, in Healy at 7, right?
Yes, but you're about to change to Gilchrist.
You're about to change to Gilchrist.
So you might not play Klusener in 98 until you have Gilchrist. Well, once you have Gilchrist in, that team just becomes absolutely crazy. So I think perhaps you could gerrymander this and you could find a way to get New Zealand an extra player, somehow, an extra bowler. Or maybe they keep Jeff Allett and you just, you know, and Australia don't need Jeff Allett, right? Because I'm not sure Australia's going to use him anyway. But I think you need to give New Zealand one more bowler perhaps in this to make it work. You know, maybe if Bond becomes 2 bowlers rather than 1, and as you're right, maybe it is just a Kumar Dharmasena, right?
What if Australia give up 2 all-rounders and then New Zealand get one of them?
Australia give up 2 all-rounders.
Let's say they give up Brandon Julian and Ian Harvey, and then New Zealand get one.
Because you're getting Klusener back, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then one of those all-rounders goes to New Zealand.
Yeah.
So they probably take Brendan Julian. They get a fast bowler, left arm, who's going to bat at number 8 because they've got Cairns at 6 and they've got Perore at 7, right? And so I think that's a good lineup. There we go. I think if off the top of my head, if I'm all 4 of those teams, I'm happy with that. And that's what you're trying to do with the trade, right? Trying to make sure everyone is happy with it.
Yeah. So in 1998, a much simpler trade than what we talked about is I think you suggested Jason Gillespie, Matthew Elliott, and then Love to South Africa for Sean Pollock.
Oh my God. Did I? Where's this one? I can't even remember this one.
Yeah, you did suggest this. I don't remember when you suggested it, but you did.
I thought you were going to talk about the other big one I did. Okay. So
That's later. I think we need some breathing space before we go to that again.
all right, let me just get this back up because obviously the fans will all see this on the screen, but I need to see it myself. So run me through that one again.
I think you said Jason Gillespie, Matthew Elliott, and is it Martin Love?
Yeah, Martin Love.
Martin Love for Sean Pollock.
I actually think I did a lot of Sean Pollock trades of this as well.
Yes.
Okay. So let's have a look at what this does for South Africa, right? So I think South Africa's bigger problem is top order batting in that period, right?
Yes.
And they have multiple all-rounders. So Pollock for Gillespie, you are not losing all that much with the ball, right? Like I would say peak Gillespie is not quite at the level as Pollock, but not far away. But maybe even was at the same level. Although peak Pollock probably didn't last as long as peak Gillespie did. They both had injury problems, and you know, Pollock can bowl through them and become slow and everything else. But if we're talking this is 1998 as well, so this is after Gillespie bowls in England, and we see how fast he is, right? So Australia lose Gillespie, but they add Pollock, which basically I would say strengthens their new ball, maybe weakens them with the old ball a little bit. They now have the world's best number 8, or I would bat Pollock ahead of Ian Healy. Right?
Yes.
I think he has more impact, but it doesn't matter if he bats ahead of him or behind him, right? You've got in 7 and 8, you've got two decent number 7s and one fantastic number 8 in any way that you do that. And you're losing Matthew Elliott, who makes their opening batting better, and that also gives Martin Love to South Africa. So has Callis already moved to number 4 by that stage? I'm assuming he has.
I think it might have been on just about to in 98.
Yeah. So either way, it allows you to say, we now have an opener, we now have a first drop, Callis can move to 4, Kirsten and Elliott open the batting together, both left-handers, but one's 6'3" and one's not 6'3". So South Africa get much better batting, and Australia get Sean Pollock, which allows them to have kind of anything they want, right? Like, you know, their flexibility with their lineups in the next couple of years is ridiculous. And that means that Warne is going to bat at 9, right? Paul Rifle or Warne bats at 9.
So Australia could then have, let's say they could have Gilly 6, Ian Harvey 7, Sean Pollock at 8, Warne 9, Brett Lee at 10, and Glenn McGrath 11, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, it allows you to be Gilchrist 6, Pollock 7, and then Warne and McGill or Warne and Miller anytime they want to bowl them.
Yes.
Right? Like, and then you still have, you're not as strong with the bat, but you have 5 genuine bowling options every single game from then on in. And
Or if you're going to Asia, you could have Pollock 7, play 3 spinners, and McGrath 11.
Yep. You could have Miller, McGill, and Warne all on the same side. Okay. Does South Africa say yes to this?
I imagine they would, right? Because they're getting a lot out of it.
I think they're a better side.
Yeah,
right?
because they don't use Pollock's all-roundedness as often as they should have.
But they've got Callis and they've got Klusner. So they're not even using his all-roundedness. And if I'm in the South African change room, I'm like, let's say that we think that Pollock is a 5% better bowler than Gillespie, which I think is debatable anyway. But let's say that that's what we come up with. You must be thinking to yourself, well, we get 2 world-class top order players as well, right? That both would have walked into the South African side in this period, right? Because this is pre-Smith, right? We're 5 years before Smith comes along, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you can also, with Elliott and Love, Elliott can bat at 3 as well, and Love can be your backup, and you still have more depth than you had before. So I think it's a yes for both sides, this one.
I'd do it as well if I'm South Africa, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Right. And Australia also don't really lose much, do they? They win because, again, they're giving up 2 people they just will not use.
Love barely plays, right?
Yeah. And then you're giving up Dizzy for Sean Pollock, who's very similar bowler but much better batter.
Yeah. Elliott might be the sticking point just because Elliott has he has the big 97, right? He makes all the runs in England. if it's 99 Elliott, I think by that stage, I'm trying to remember when he failed against the West Indies. If it's that Elliott, I think they give him up in a heartbeat, right? But they've got Hayden, Slater, Taylor. Eventually, obviously, they'll use Langer. They've got Cox. They've got Hills, right? Like, does losing Elliott really change all that much to them? I'm going to argue no. So I would just give him up, right? And Love, they don't use Love for years, right? Like, as far as I can remember, I think that Love doesn't play Test cricket until the 2000s. So
Does he play Test
despite the fact that,
matches?
yeah, Love plays not many. He plays a couple of Test matches late in his career. I want to say he might have been around 30 when he gets
Ah,
the game.
yes. He plays 5.
Yes.
Who doesn't play? Was it Stuart Law who doesn't play a Test match?
Stuart Law played one Test, didn't he?
I thought he played ODIs or more, no?
He played a lot of ODIs. So
He plays does play one Test, you're right.
there is a wrinkle in this where this could go horribly wrong for Australia. Do you want to hear what it is?
Go for it.
They look at all the openers available, and you say to them, you can't pick Slater, you can't pick Taylor, and you can't pick Hayden. Because I'm pretty sure that Australia would have been like, those are the 3 that are untouchable, right? I think. I could be wrong. There is a potentiality that they pick Hussey.
Ooh.
Because if you're looking at backup openers, he's not a star at that point, though, and I think you pick Elliott, right? I think at that stage, I just think if Elliott's already made runs at international level and he's on the table, I think you pick him. But if you're South Africa and you're looking at the thing, you might be like, this young Western Australian guy looks okay as well. Chris Rogers also would have been available around that period. Anyway, I think we found another trade where you can argue that both teams should make it.
This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. If you want to be part of the community that makes content like this, head over now. My latest book is The Art of Batting. It delves deep into how the best players ever made their runs. Get your copy today.
Yes. All right, so 2000. Let's go to, again, it's a big trade again. Right?
Whoa!
Australia.
Wait, who are the teams? Just tell us the teams who are involved first.
Okay, so we have Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa this time.
So just a 3-team trade. See, I feel like I've pulled that one back.
Yeah, much less complex, I think. Yeah, right. So Australia give up Shane Warne already.
What?
Like,
Who would do that?
Already, but it's a bit of a crazy one already, right? New Zealand give up Dan Vittori. Okay. South Africa give up Sean Pollock, Herschel Gibbs. Is it Deepaner, Elworthy, Boyer, and Schultz?
Yeah. Did you need me to explain some of those cricketers to you?
Yeah, I've heard of Deepaner before, but I don't have no idea about most of them. I know Nicky Boyer, I know Pollock, I know Gibbs. No idea about Schultz.
Okay, Brett Schultz was a 90-mile-an-hour left-arm seamer.
Ah, okay.
Right? Who basically never bowled. If you can look him up now, you'll be able to tell me how many times he played in Test cricket, and I'm assuming it was not much. You had Boyer as well, didn't we, in that list? Yeah. Right? So I'm going to assume... Why can't I find this trade?
He plays 9 Test matches, takes 37 wickets at 20.
Yeah, it's a tough trade, isn't it?
That is a tough... Why does he not play more?
Injury.
Ah, makes sense.
So yeah. Okay, so you got Pollock, you've got Boyer, you got Bota Dippener.
So I have a question for you. Would you trade a 30-year-old Schultz in that point? Was that a worthwhile option to get back?
I think you're trading him as a reclamation project, right? You're saying, we don't know if he's going to come good. Maybe he'll have better luck in a different system. We know what he's worth. Every team in the world will want him, but that's the way that we are at the moment, right? So Pollock, Boyer, Dippener, Elworthy, Schultz. Did I throw anyone else in from South Africa?
Pollock, Gibbs, I think.
Oh my God. I'm out of control. Someone's got to stop me.
That might be crazy trade, Jarrod, yeah.
Okay. Right. So, what is wrong with me and why do I do these things? Okay. Who gets
Should
who?
I tell you who gets who? Okay.
Yeah.
So
please.
Australia get Pollock and Vittori. South Africa get Warne.
Australia get Pollock and Vittori. Yep.
South Africa get Warne.
Yep.
And New Zealand get Gibbs, Dippener, Elworthy, Boyer, and Schultz.
Gibbs, Elworthy, Boyer, Dip, and Schultz. All right. Do you want me to try and explain all this now?
Yes, because it seems like that's a horrible trade for South Africa on paper.
Really?
Yeah, because like forget the others. I think you're giving up Pollock and Gibbs for Warren, right?
I would give up Pollock and Gibson for Warren in a heartbeat. You can't find
Really?
another Warren.
You can't find another Pollock though, can you?
But they don't even, as we've already discussed, they're not even using him effectively.
Yeah, fair, I guess.
Well, you know, look at the kinds of teams they had. This is year 2000, right?
Yes.
So I'm assuming Mackay and Tini is doing okay by this point.
Guarantee this. Would Donald be on his last legs?
Donald is still bowling. So you got
Right.
Mackay and Tini, Donald, you've got Klusner and you've got Callis, right?
Right.
That's a lot of seam bowling in a country that is producing seam bowlers out its ass,
Yes.
right? I don't know how old Andre Nell is at this point. He's probably a little bit too young. But I think there will be more and more kind of guys coming through as well. So maybe if you looked at 2000 to 2003, is Roger Telemarcus? Is he around? Are we,
So Andre Nell would be 23 in 2000.
okay. So am I not looking at that going, we have multiple options coming through? They had another young African bowler, a black African bowler as well, I reckon, in that period, of which the name escapes me.
Yeah, I feel like I remember looking him up recently.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know why.
I think they had options. I'm just going to have a look at 2000 to 2004 just to
Let's
see who
look
they've
at
got
this
coming
bit.
through. Oh, they got Nanty Haywood as well. Andre Nell, who we mentioned. Don't know who this is. Pretorius? We've already mentioned Elworthy's in the trade, so they lose it. Oh, Charles Willoughby. Is it Charles Willoughby? It's Charles Willoughby, isn't it? Yeah, they've got Dewell Pretorius, who I think was, I want to say, a prospect that they thought a lot of, and it didn't quite work.
Is
But
it
he
Monde
takes 200
Zondeki, the one you're thinking of?
Zondeki. I think there's another one as well, by the way. Charles Willoughby. So Dewell Pretorius, right, takes 200 wickets in first-class cricket at 27. Charles Willoughby takes 800 wickets at 26, right? You see
That's
what
a
I'm
lot of
saying
wickets.
here?
Yeah,
They've
okay.
got options. So this is the way I'm looking at it. Okay, the first question, I think, let's get, okay, do you want to start with South Africa? So South Africa are losing Pollock. What other, they're probably, when it was Schultz's last test, they're probably given up on Schultz by that point. is my
99,
guess.
I think. I just saw this. Yeah. Or 98 or 99, one of them.
Okay, that might be a sticking point because they might be like, no, we can still bring him back, right? Like, I don't know. I can't remember what injury he had in that period, right? Might be a bit of a sticking point, right? Elworthy, I chatted to Steve Elworthy the other day. Sorry, Steve, if you're watching this, but I don't think you've got any issue with trading away Elworthy, right? Like, very good. Elworthy's a proper backup seamer, right? Like, really respectable, but a backup seamer. Nicky Bowyer, you have Paul Adams at that point, right? And Nicky Bowyer, I just think you can find another Nicky Bowyer if you have to, so I'm not too worried about that. Bota Dippener, again, I reckon by that stage in his career, he's a bit of a flawed batter. They're not too worried about losing him. And as we said before, I'm not sure how highly they rated Gibbs, but also they had middle order batting, right? So even though Gibbs goes and eventually becomes an opener, which is obviously what he's going to do in New Zealand for us, right? That's why New Zealand want him. I'm looking at that going, I'm losing Pollock, maybe a regenerated Schultz and Herschel Gibbs. Everything else is what they call in NBA trades flotsam. You're just throwing it in because you have to put more things in order to make it look like the trade works. Right?
Yes.
And for that, I'm getting Shane Warne, the thing I can never recreate and I will never be able to recreate ever again at all in my life. So where does Shane Warne bat? He bats where Pollock does. He's not as good as Pollock, right? But he's not shit. He's not a shit. If he bats at number 9, which is probably where they're going to bat him because they don't understand how to maximize their batting lineup, right? If he bats at number 9, he's the world's best number 9, isn't he?
Yes, I
Warne?
imagine.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's him
Would
or...
be him or Lee, right?
Yeah, maybe I'm trying to think if there's someone else. Like, he's a really good number 9. So they've still got batting all the way down to number 9. They now have the one thing they've never been able to have before, right? I just do this in a heartbeat if I'm South Africa. And I'm willing to take that Warne's a little bit older, he's had some injury problems, but Sean Pollock's not bowling at 90 miles an hour in the year 2000. He's already started to stiffen up a little bit, right? I'm okay with it.
All right, you sold me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we say South Africa's a yes.
Yes.
New Zealand in this. Now, New Zealand, they're giving up Vittori, right? They are getting back a bunch of projecty players, right? So Gibbs fixed their opening batting. Elworthy probably, I'm trying to think the 2000 bowling lineup. I think he probably walks in as their third best seamer, right? Yeah. They
still
hope
have
that they
Bond
can
then, right?
Hey?
They still have Bond, won't they?
They're going to have Bond, right?
Yeah.
So they've got Bond. They've got the commentator whose name I've completely forgotten, who commentates every single cricket game in the world. Oh my God, why can't I think of the New Zealand cricket commentator's name? Again, I know him, and he's going to
Simon Doull?
Simon Doull! They've got Simon Doull. They've got Dion Nash. I don't know if Kyle Mills is around. He might not be around at that stage. Right? Steve Elworthy fits into that. He doesn't change it, right? But again, you're New Zealand, right? And you're getting backups there. But with your batting, you're getting Gibbs and Dippener, right?
Yeah.
Maybe to make this trade work, Australia needs to give away another sort of Cox Hills Divenuto type cricketer, right? Rogers.
Yeah, I'd imagine
Maybe.
so.
Right? Fine.
Yeah.
So New Zealand get 2 openers. They get Bota Dippener at the top of their order, right? They get Elworthy as their third or fourth seamer. They get Brett Schultz, who, if he comes good, is going to be anything, right? And they get Nicky Bowyer. I would argue that Nicky Bowyer is the Walmart Dan Vittori.
Yeah, especially at 2000. I'd imagine there's not much between them.
Right? And a brilliant fielder as well. And they're thinking, what we want is opening batters and seam. Right?
Yeah.
So if they get Gibbs, Cox, Bota Dippener, that's 3 really good batters. They get Nicky Bowyer, so a slight downgrade on that. And then with Elworthy and Schultz, they get a seamer that's going to come straight in and help them take wickets. And potentially a seamer who could be... Imagine if... you've never seen Brett Schultz bowl. Brett Schultz is like a muscular Wasam Akram.
Ooh.
Right? Like, stronger, bigger version, right? Like... You know, a bit like a late career Wasam Akram, if I'm being honest, but like a Ryan Harris left armour.
Ooh, like a
Right?
solid
Like-
chunk of meat.
A solid,
Like a solid
chunk
slab,
of meat.
like solid slab of meat, right? Okay,
If you've got him at one end and you've got Shane Bond at the other end, right? I just, good. Then Elworthy and Doull and Dion Nash and whatever, they're just gravy, right? So I'm not sure on New Zealand. I'm going to put a question mark on New Zealand, but they get a lot of players back for Victoria this trade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, Australia.
So you get
Australia
Pollock
have
and
got rid of
Vittori.
Shane Warne, and they now
Right.
have Dan Vittoria and Sean Pollock in
Right.
2000. So there's some things you need to know about this, Varun. One of those things is that in 2000, that's after Shane Warne's shoulder injury,
Right.
right? And Australia doesn't, and he's already had the big finger injury as well, right? They would be looking at Vittori, who's now already an international cricketer of some repute, right? Who's taken a 5 for in at the Wacker, maybe before our trade, hopefully. And thinking to themselves, and Steve Waugh's decided that he doesn't care about Shane Warne. He cares about pace bowling. Shane Warne's almost a stock bowler under Steve Waugh at times, right? Wouldn't you just bring in a stock bowler who's Vittori? And now you've got Pollock as well. So Gilchrist at 6, Vittori at 7, Pollock at 8, or vice versa at the first part of their careers with that.
Or
And
you could,
you
let's
could
say,
still use McGill.
I was about to say, let's say at that point they're like, okay, Vittori is so young, we'll use him in a bit. You could still have Pollock 7. What am I forgetting here? Like McGill 8, like Brett Lee 8, McGill 9. Let's say Dizzy and McGrath, right? You're still getting 5 bowlers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think you can actually do multiple different options, I think, there with that all the way through. So Do Australia trade Shane Warne for Sean Pollock and Dan Vettori?
I think it's a fair enough trade. I think now that we've seen that, right?
I think, I mean, obviously they wouldn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
we all understand that there's a, you know, this is like the Ntidi trade before. Like, South Africa's not getting rid of Ntidi. But if you're just trying to
So
make your
Dan
team better,
Vettori's 5 comes in 2001.
what a bastard. I've never been more disappointed in Dan Vettori than this one moment. I think if I'm Australia, the flexibility that gives me with lineups going ahead, it also gives me the best new ball combination maybe ever.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right? And you add in the all-round ability with that as well. I just don't know how you say no to that, right? Now, you probably do because you can't make another Warne. But surely Australia's going, but we get Vettori and we have McGill. And in 2000, has Colin Miller started playing by 2000 as well? Like,
He plays in 2001, right? In India.
okay, so you're not... I don't think Colin Miller's quite on your verge then, if that's the case. Let's just have a look at his first test.
I
No,
really
his
like
first
this.
test is 98. No, so he's in
cool.
the side.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
So, Vettori, Miller, and McGill, that's an interesting lineup to take to Asia, right?
Yeah.
Three different spinners.
I think I prefer the lineup with Pollock at 7 and let's say Lee at 8 and one spinner. I think that would still be, you'd still probably take more wickets than with Warne and 4 bowlers, right?
I think
that's
you
a
can do that
worthwhile
in
enough
certain
trade.
places. I think the way that... look, you're right. Thinking of Steve Waugh and the way he thinks about things, because you can use Mark Waugh's spin. You've got... I'm trying to think who else is in that top
I'm assuming
6.
this is in Senna. Like in Asia, you take the second or third spinner.
Yeah.
obviously, right?
No, you're right. So you use Mark Waugh's spin. Is Andrew Simons, when does he starts playing a lot later than that, doesn't he?
Around then. I think that's late 90s is when he debuts.
Yeah, in Test cricket though?
Not in,
trying
I'm
to
not sure
think
about
of when
Test cricket.
he's-
No idea about Test cricket.
Yeah, I'm
What
trying
is
to think
Test
of
cricket?
his...
2004?
I think it's
I
later,
don't-
yeah. But
wanna
if you
say-
wanted to anyway, maybe if you wanted to, you bring Simons in. Let's have a look at Test cricket here. Simons plays his first test in 2004.
2004.
If you wanted to, though, you could bring him in, and you've got Mark Warren Simons as your backup spinners, right? And you've got a batting lineup that is Simons, Gilchrist, Pollock at 6, 7, 8 if you wanted to.
Yeah.
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 Imagine that. So you've gone through all of Australia's top order, and then that comes out. Simons, Gilchrist, and Pollock, and they're just all hitting boundaries out of their arse against you.
Or I like we
Just-
could bring our man Ian Harvey in again, and go Ian Harvey 7, Pollock at 8, and then let's say maybe not play Dizzy or Liu.
Yeah.
Because-
Surely,
Yeah.
if you've got Pollock, Harvey, and Vettori.
Because you could make an argument Pollock, McGrath, and Dizzy is already too redundant with the new ball. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Lee, sorry, not Dizzy, is already too redundant with the new ball
Yeah.
because we know Brett Lee needs the new ball, right?
Yeah. Okay, so think about it this way. If you had Gilchrist at 6,
Who's a better batter, Pollock or Harvey?
Harvey at 7, Vettori at 8, Pollock at 9, McGill and McGrath.
But Gil McGrath? I don't know if I have Vittori in this, do I? I think... So what did I have? What the hell did I have? So I had Ian Harvey
You had
7,
Gillespie in
Pollock
it
at
instead
8.
of Vettori.
No, I had Pollock at 7. No, yes, I had Gillespie instead of... I didn't have Brett Lee.
But
That's
you
what I
could
didn't
drop
have.
McGill as well. You could drop McGill for... You could have 3 pacers, 2 spinners. You
I
could have
think that McGill and Harvey's too defensive for my liking. I want a bit more strike bowling in that.
McGill, not McGill.
Not McGill, sorry.
mean
Vittori
Vettori
and
and
Harvey is too defensive for my liking.
I think you can make, if you're Australia, you could probably make the conversation there that you can use them interchangeably, right? When it's going to swing or seam, you bring Harvey in, and when it's going to spin or be flat, you bring in Vettori. I still think Vettori gets into this side. I think if I'm Steve Waugh, I'm like, wait, you're going to give me a left arm finger spinner who no one's going to be able to score off and will occasionally take wickets forever, and he can bat at number 7. I just think they're taking that option when they can. But I also understand the difference. I suppose what this does is, and this is why we talk about trades like this. What it really gives Australia more than anything else is an incredible flexibility, right? Whereas they're not as flexible with Warne, right? They might have a higher top end with Warne and McGrath as a partnership. But this, because Pollock is taking so many new ball wickets, right? The spinner is not as important. And so a stock spinner and bringing Pollock and Gillespie and Lee and McGrath back into bowl, second and third spells, with a stock bowler at one end, it's like, good luck.
So I think that's all the trades I had. Is there any off the top of your head you just randomly thought of? No, sorry, I did forget one. I forgot one. I think in that time period, Heat Streak for Stuart Law, Jamie Cox, and Dean Hills. You said.
Oh my god. Okay, wait. I've got to clear my whiteboard and start again. Okay, so it's Australia-Zimbabwe,
Yes.
and we're saying what 98 again. I don't know why all of mine are 98, but
Interesting time to trade that, I think.
okay. So Australia gets streak,
Right.
and Zimbabwe get. Give me those names again.
Stuart Law, Jamie
Yep.
Cox, and Dean Hills.
I'm gonna change one of Hills for Divenuto.
Okay.
One of those two, because I think they want a number 3. Because they had Alistair Canberra at number 3. So Divenuto could even bat 4 in that side. And you've got Grant Flower to open up, right? So you're putting Grant Flower with one of Cox or Hills, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting Stuart Law to bat at 5 so that Andy Flower can bat at 6, or you're getting Stuart Law to bat at 6 if you want. I think you probably have to give back an all-rounder, looking at this now, as well, if you're Australia. Like an all-rounder you're not going to use. So...
Okay. Let's say Brendan Julian again. I think he's been our guy.
Sorry, DJ. I've never met Brendan Julian, actually, but like, I'm apologising because he's been thrown around as trades here. I think if you get Law, that means you can use Andy Flower better, right? And you can be a bit more flexible with Andy Flower. If you get Cox, that gives you the ability to actually have a strong opening partnership. If you get Divenuto, you can have him as an attacking number 3, which you might need because they were so defensive. Yeah, that batting lineup is ridiculously defensive, right? And then with Julian, it means that you can replace some of Heat Streak in, to use a Moneyball phrase, in the aggregate. He does some of the things that Heat Streak does. I don't think he does any of them as well. Otherwise, Australia would have used Julian more, right? But it gives them a left armour, which I don't remember them have. They had the ambidextrous bowler. Was it David Brain? They might have had, it might have been Brian Vittori. They had one left arm bowler that I can think of, right? But they didn't have a lot of that. Also, Julian's quite quick and everything. He's got a bat at number 8. If you're Australia, do you take a punt on that? Just to be like, we don't need any of these players. And if Heat Streak can bat at number 8, right? We then Warne bats at 9 or Rifle. You basically bring Heat Streak in for Rifle in 1998, and you have him as the third seamer for about 3 years, where you have Warne at 9, right? And you have a different kind of.
How good a batter was he? Like, I'm assuming he's worse than Pollock. You can't bat him at 7. I'm assuming Heat Streak.
No, I don't think so.
Could you have again,
late career Heat Streak became a very good batter when he became captain? Is my memory.
Again, bringing back to this point, could we have Ian Harvey 7, Heat Streak 8? So that way you're getting, you're not really losing. Between the both of them, you're getting a decent number 7.
Yeah, I think you can do that because he's a different kind of bowler than Harvey as well, isn't he? Mm-hmm. And you've also then got slightly more attacking boundary hitting options, and then Warne comes in at 9. So what you're doing there is you're replacing Damien Fleming, Paul Rifle with I don't know what Damien Fleming's bowling average was, but Heat Streak's bowling average is, I think, similar to those two guys, but you're upgrading the batting a little bit more. And I just think that Heat Streak's a more useful bowler than Paul Rifle. Paul Rifle, you could actually trade Paul Rifle to England, right? Because he's a much more useful bowler to England. And also, he's probably a little bit older by that point. I just think this is a fun one where you can make the Zimbabwean team better by getting rid of their best player and getting them back 4 players for it, right? Or not their best player, the second best player, and getting them back 4 players for it, and they get better. And Australia takes a punt on Heat Streak, right? And maybe you throw in, how old's Andy Blignort?
I don't know who that is.
In 1998. Yeah, Andy Blignort's a young all-rounder that eventually tried to play for Australia, by the way. I think maybe you throw in Andy Blignord as well, and Australia's like, okay, so now we have Heath Streak, sort of prime Heath Streak for the next 3 or 4 years. We haven't lost anything in this trade, right? And if Paul Rifle's better than Heath Streak, we go with Paul Rifle anyway. And now we've got a backup for Paul Rifle because he gets injured a lot. And we've got Andy Blignort, who we get into our system straight away, and we try and get him ready for international cricket as soon as possible because he's a fast bowler who can also bat a little bit.
Yes. So the other like interesting trade I had in mind was I just thought of this, so I don't know if it's not fully
Oh my
fledged.
God.
So in about 2007, could let's say the Indian team trade a few batters for Shakib?
Okay. So 2007. All
Right.
right. So India,
So
do they need Shakib?
they don't have a fifth bowler, right?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going here. Okay.
Yeah.
So India get Shakib. All right.
So you could either give them a main batter, or let's if you don't, they
You have to give a lot back to Bangladesh.
How about
don't you?
how much
This-
did they rate him Shakib in 2007?
Yeah, he was like, wasn't he like, it was him and Ashraful and Tamim were like the future, weren't they? Like, I'm
Okay,
pretty sure they were pretty high. When did Shakib
So-
make his test debut? 06?
2007. 2007. I just
Yeah.
checked. So
I reckon by that stage it's pretty high. So, okay, so if you're India,
I was thinking, do you reckon if you're Bangladesh, you'd ask for a frontline Indian batter, or would you be happy with someone like Anmol Majumdar or like Bradrinath, that sort of fringe batters who are clearly good enough to play, but just couldn't because the batting was too strong in that point?
there's two ways to think about this, right?
Yeah.
One way is what would India say, but also like what is Bangladesh really trying to get out of this? If I'm Bangladesh, I want 5 players back. Right?
5, okay.
Yep. I want 5
Okay,
players
let's
back.
say-
And the
off the
reason I
top of
want
my head-
5 players back is
Okay,
because
go ahead.
I want to be able to completely change my fortunes going ahead, right? I want to be in a situation where because they've never had depth before, right?
No.
So a trade like this gives them depth in a way that they've never had before if they do it correctly. So if that's the case, I probably want fringier players, right?
Let's say Majumdar, Badrinath. Would India throw in Murli Karthik? But they don't use him much.
I would ask for him because I'm losing. I mean, to be honest,
You're losing Shakib.
it
right?
might be
Yeah.
the worst trade in history if Bangladesh trade for a left arm finger spinner. But maybe you think if he's better, do you know what I mean? Like, not better, but if he's available, does that not make it? That means you haven't lost anything with a left arm finger spinner then. So okay,
Yeah.
so you take, if you're Bangladesh, you take Murali,
Murli.
right? Well, Murali Karthik.
Oh, Murli Karthik.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, or you take Murali as well. Okay. Is Jaffa too high? Plays
What was
24
it?
tests from 06 to 08.
I don't think he's ever like solid.
All right. So I'm asking for Jaffa.
Okay, let's say Jaffa. I'll throw in Majumdar and Badrinath. They're like I
Yeah,
think they're
Badrinath
fringe middle
and-
or backups. I think.
So Badranath and Majumdar.
Yeah. Shout out to Majumdar for winning the World Cup with Indian women.
Yeah. he's just in the news everywhere now. Okay. I don't think you give up Murali VJ.
No, I don't think I'd give up any of the young
Oh.
batters.
Do you go for Dinesh Karthik?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Dhoni's in the team.
Okay.
He's not playing much.
I think you go for one of DK or Jaffa.
Would they
You
give up
can't get
Saha?
both.
Would they give up Saha at that point in India? I don't know if Saha is even around, but would they give him up if he was?
I don't know if you want Saha though, because they have a wicketkeeper as well, don't they? Bangladesh, a young wicketkeeper at that
That's
stage.
fair.
So I don't know. I think if it's Dinesh Karthik, you might do it.
I don't think
Right.
India would give up Yuvraj Singh even in Test cricket.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely
No,
not.
they wouldn't.
Mohammed
Could they take Raina?
Kaif?
Would they take Raina?
Do you give up Raina in 2007?
Assuming only Test cricket, it's an interesting option, right?
Because I'm taking Raina if I've watched him in the net. Mohammed Kaif?
Kaif, yeah, agreed.
But some of these players are real players.
Yeah, they'd all be better than almost anyone Bangladesh had in that period, I'd imagine.
Okay. So you've got Murali Karthik.
I think Karthik is definite certainty for me in this trade. if
Let's
I'm
get rid of
Bangladesh.
DK for a minute. Let's
Okay.
take Wasim Jaffa.
Yeah.
So Murali Kartik wasn't Jaffa. You got Badranath. We both agree that's going.
Mm-hmm.
You've got
I'd take Majumdar, without a doubt.
Majumdar there. And then you take one of Raina, KF, Akash Chopra.
Akash Chopra. Yeah.
What's Shikhar Dhawan's reputation at that point?
That would be, when was this? 2007. He was coming off an elite under-19 tournament in 2004, but not in the Indian team yet.
Yep.
So they might give him up in Test cricket. I don't think they ever rated him that highly in first-class cricket.
All right, can I give you another one?
Go ahead.
Irfan Pathan.
Irfan Pathan. I think he's probably washed by then, right? I think he's getting injured a lot. I don't know if they would give him up though, Jarrod. I think they'd be like, okay, he's injury prone, but we'll keep him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking we've completely revolutionized their batting here, but we haven't.
And India get
them
a
with
decent fifth bowler, right?
So I think you have to take Murali Kartik, right?
Yeah.
If you take Jaffa, Badranath, Majumdar, and then one of Raina, KF, Shikhar, Chopra,
yeah,
I think you're pretty happy with that trade, right? And if you're India and you've got Dhoni, you bat Dhoni at 6 and you bat Shakib at 7, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it was Kumble and Baji at 8 and 9 in Indian conditions.
And then when you're going away from home, you don't need to use either of them.
Yes. I think both teams are pretty happy. Bangladesh become a much better side overnight. India sought the one weakness they have in that era, which is lack of taking wickets, right? Because
without losing anything. It's like the Street trade, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not losing anything there.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I think both sides say yes. If I'm Bangladesh, I'm like, teams are going to find it hard to bowl us out now. Right? And we've got another left-arm finger spinner who's probably a better bowler. Like, having seen Murali Kartik and Shakib, I think Murali Kartik's probably a better bowler, all things considered. This is my personal view. I don't think there's a lot between them.
Yeah.
But you're not losing a lot on the bowling. You are losing a generational all-rounder. But in order to lose that generational all-rounder, you're getting lots of younger batting talent, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you're getting
maybe
a couple of
the
guys
only
at
thing
the
I would
peak.
say here is
You're getting two guys at the peak.
I want a lot of batters between the age of 20 and 24. And I don't know the ages of all these different guys we just went through.
I think Majumdar would be around 30 by then, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So I'd probably say no to him.
I'd actually, if I'm Bangladesh, I'd want two guys at their peak and two young batters. And one Murali Kartik.
Yeah. No, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I like that trade. I think that makes sense.
Let's say you take Badrinath and Jaffer, because I think you'd want a top order player at that point, right? Because you don't want all the middle order guys. And then you take two of Raina, Dhawan, DK, Kev. And you're getting a good age curve out of them, right?
Yeah. I don't want anyone over the age of 28 though. If I get players in their peak, I want it at 26, 27, 28. Because I'm building a young core.
That's
right. What I really want is people who can make test runs now, who are going to make test runs in 5 to 6 years' time as well. So I don't want people who are going to be 36, 37.
I'm just thinking in that period, if there's a three-way trade we can do with the side that can afford to give up, let's say, fast bowlers.
So 2007, who has
fast bowlers? Would it have to be South Africa?
It's always going to be South Africa, right?
Yeah, it's always going to be South Africa. I don't know what South Africa would need in this trade from any of them.
Well, they need a spinner.
I don't know. Who do they get then?
How old's Ashwin at that point? 2007.
I don't think he must not have debuted. I don't think he can't have debuted by then, can he?
Yeah, you give them a spinner.
I don't even know who in this fourth spinner is. Is Pragyan Ojha around?
He was definitely around, yeah.
In 2007, would it be making his debut? I don't. Would South Africa?
2007, he might not be around, but he's around as in.
Yeah.
People
He exists.
Know he plays. Yeah.
People know he exists, right? Yeah.
P.S. Chawla?
P.S. Chawla, yeah, he's interesting too.
And then who? South Africa give up what? Wagner, Mitch Clayton. Is Mitch Clayton? Yeah, I think Mitch Clayton's South African.
Yeah. They give up one of the fringe bowlers. They get an easy spinner out of this, right? And then
Mitch Clayton's Australian, maybe.
What?
No, Mitch Clayton's Australian. Sorry. I knew he wasn't English. I knew he was born somewhere else. But yeah,
So
you
India
give
would
up-
be giving up 5 players to Bangladesh and 1 fringe spinner to South Africa. South Africa's pacer would then go to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh obviously get the guys from India. If you're India, would you want someone from South Africa too?
So South Africa get Murali Kartik in this.
Did they? I thought he's going to Bangladesh.
What I'm saying now is there a way of
Okay.
giving him? You give Murali Kartik to South Africa, and you
Right.
give 2 seamers to South Africa, to Bangladesh.
Then what do India get? Do India
They're
get
still
anything?
just getting Shakib. Why do they care?
Yeah, fair. That's true. I don't mind that.
I mean, you could if you wanted to. I suppose if you're India, you might say we want one of the seamers coming back from South Africa.
So let's say India give up 4 batters and Murali Kartik and Pragyan Ojha, and then Bangladesh get Pragyan Ojha. Is that what you're saying? And the
You
4
could do
batters.
that as well. You could do
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah.
Because if I'm
think
Bangladesh, I'm asking for a
though,
spinner. I'm
the
definitely
minute
asking
that
for a
South
spinner.
Africa's, the minute South Africa's involved, I want seamers though, don't I?
Yeah, you definitely want seamers, right? Oh,
So
what if would South Africa outbid India for Shakib?
Oh
they-
shit!
Would South Africa go? We'll give you 3 or 4 seamers for Shakib, like fringe ones, maybe. Like
Okay, so they're giving up what? Colin Ingram. So who are the other batters? Dale Benkenstein.
and you throw in 2 fringe seamers, right?
So you probably got 3 batters who are good enough, right?
Right.
you
How's
know, if
Duminy
you
in
just-
that era?
Yeah. I think they've got enough. If you go through the Colpack guys, I think they've got more than enough batters, right, to be able to offer. And then you offer Neil Wagner, and a couple of other seamers on top of him. As I said, sort of Marchand de Lange, Kyle Abbott type. I'm not even that level. It could be the level below them, right? You offer 3 batters and 2 seamers, right? And they're all fringe players that you're not expecting to use. Maybe that's the better trade. Because if I'm Bangladesh, I'm backing that I'm going to be able to find another left arm spinner,
Yeah.
right?
It's a fair bet.
But what I can't do at the moment is find genuine batting talent. And 3
Right.
Bangladeshi batters, 3 South African batters is going to really help that lineup, right? And then at that point, they had not had a seamer. Unless so you got Mortaza coming through, might have just started to play. You got Mortaza, Neil Wagner / Marchand de Lange, right? Like, that's now a funky team. I don't know how many test matches it's winning, but it's not shit. Right? Whereas with Shakib, they were still shit, right?
That's true.
They're
They're getting more wickets, right? I think, as we keep saying, it's better to have an even bowling attack.
Okay, I think if you're going to do one more thing, you have to ask for an all-rounder back.
From South Africa.
Yeah, so you have to, because you're losing all-rounder. So you need a David Visa,
Okay. Wayne Parnell.
God, what's the big? Yeah, Wayne Parnell. There's a
Albie Moko.
one of them. There's a guy. There's an all-rounder who plays for Durban.
I feel like I'm
Who
gonna
played for
remember
them
the
for
name.
years. Who's really, really good. Big guy as well. South Africans will know who I mean. That kind of guy. I want to say Ricky someone. I met him when we were over there. But yeah, so I think they've had... No, it's not Ricky.
Is it? No. I don't know who that is.
Durban all-rounder captain. Let's see if I can find this. But yeah, those sorts of guys. Anyway, as you said, LB Morkel, David Wieser, Obus Pinar. I'm pronouncing that really badly, so I apologize to all the people who are aware of that. But yeah, they've got plenty of those players. I think I need one of those back just to give me a little bit more flexibility in my lineup. So that's where I'm going with that. I want 2 bats, 1 all-rounder who
2
can bowl
seamers?
seam, and 2 seamers.
Yeah, I like it.
So
And
I
they
don't
get a
care if
genuine
it's
spinner
Yeah.
at that point.
I don't think you need a genuine spinner, though. I just think you back the fact that you're going to find spinners.
No, not so not Bangladesh. I mean South Africa get a spinner.
Yeah, South Africa get, what? Callis and Shakib give them all the flexibility they ever want, and they get a home and away spinner, right?
Yeah.
Like, who's their keeper in 07? Is it Boucher still?
I think it has to be Boucher.
So Shakib bats ahead of Boucher, right? Without any doubt.
I'd imagine
there.
so. Yeah.
So then Boucher becomes a world-class number 8 with what, Sean Pollock still hanging on at number 9, maybe. Trying to think of the age curves of some of those guys.
Pollock must be on his last legs by then.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and have a look at that. But yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know,
you have Staines come around.
and
you have
Callis.
Morkel by then, right?
Yeah.
That's a great bowling attack then.
Because who's their best spinner in that period? Paul Harris?
Yeah. I always get Paul Harris and Paul Adams confused every time.
They're about 1.5 feet different in height before you even get to skin tone.
I mean the names. So that.
Yeah, Pollock plays at the end of 2008. So you don't get a lot of Pollock. But you get Callis and Shakib for quite a few years.
Quite a few
right?
years, right? Yeah.
You know, 5 or 6 years. And then you also get backup for the fact that when Callis goes, you know you have another all-rounder coming through.
Definitely.
So you don't lose the flex. That was the big problem with South Africa, right? When Callis stops bowling, they completely lose their flexibility and they have to play, you know, Robin Peterson and Ryan McLaren and
Philander batted at 7 in a few games, I remember.
Dejan Van Zyl and all these guys.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can just, you know, JP Duminy played as the all-rounder, I reckon, a couple of times as well. So if you could just put Shakib in there, game over. And I think you're right. I think if I'm Bangladesh, I asked for JP Duminy. So I asked because I get a little bit of spin bowling as well. JP Duminy and, I don't know, Benkenstein or Colin Ingram. I'm probably, if you go back through the Kolpak South Africans, there's like just a bunch of them that are just fantastic that you could pick from.
Yeah, so I think, I'll finish off with the mini trade. I think in that same period, would you trade a Murli Karthik to Australia for one of the seamers? They need a spinner then, right? In the late
Warne's
2000s.
retired.
Warne's retired. McGill's injured.
Buggered.
Brad Hogg isn't in their plans. Like, that's the Xavier Doherty era.
So who am I trading back?
From Australia or from India?
From Australia. Who's the seamer that India want? And how strong a seamer do they want is the question.
Would they take Peter Siddle? I think Peter Siddle would probably be India's best. Along with Zaire Khan. I think it would be a good combo at that point.
But he's a front line. So this is 2007.
Let's say late 2000s, early 2010s.
He's pretty much in the team though, then, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't have a frontline spinner then.
Yeah, but if you're India, if you're Australia, you're going, well, you're giving us a backup, and you're taking a frontliner.
Would India give up like a Harbhajan or a Praganoja? Praganoja is a frontline Indian spinner.
Yeah, Australia won't take him because they thought he chucked.
Okay, what about Budgie then? Well, was it too old by then?
No, Murali Karthik is the one that you want. I think you picked the right bowler, but I think you picked the wrong Australian bowler. I think you need... If Dougie Bollinger is fit, he's your best choice.
If Dougie Bollinger is fit, would Australia just not play him more?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I think Siddle is the best option because Hilfenhaus...
Jackson Bird?
You have Hilfenhaus in that period as well, don't you?
Does India take Jackson Bird?
I don't even know how good Jackson Bird is at that point.
He plays his first test in 2012.
Okay.
I think. Okay. What if they give you Jackson Bird, Peter George for Murali Karthik?
What's Peter
They don't
George
lose a
like?
frontline bowler. Because I don't think Australia's frontline bowling is that strong at that point. Right?
No, I think... What was it? That would be Bollinger, Hilfenhaus, Siddle? I'd imagine that's
it was
before
Mitchell
Ryan Harris.
Johnson, Siddle, Hilfenhaus.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of.
With Bollinger. Lee's almost done.
Lee's done.
And they don't quite believe in Ryan Harris at that point.
Right.
And James Pattinson has played a fair bit. And I think Stark is starting to play.
If you're India, would you not argue, we'll give you our third best spinner for your third best seamer?
Is Murali Karthik their best spinner?
Is he not the third best spinner at that point?
Oh, you said third best spinner for third best seamer.
Yes.
I don't... I think I would do this trade.
Okay.
I'm not sure Australia would have done this trade. They were pretty gung-ho on Siddle and Hilfenhaus.
Because I think Peter Siddle might be the most stock bowler of all time after in history of cricket, right?
Yeah. I think if I'm Australia, I'm trying to make a trade of Jackson Bird, Trent Copeland.
Okay.
Who was the other one I said? Peter George.
I wonder if India still take it because they don't have a lot of seamers then.
Because they did have a lot of seamers.
Yeah, Zaire Khan and Ishan Sharma, and then basically anyone.
Right? So maybe you just say, it's either a straight swap, maybe I want something else. Maybe I want a young spinner.
From India?
If I'm giving up Siddle. Because you're saying third seamer for third spinner, but that's not what's happening here, really. It's automatic bowler in the side for fringe bowler in the side.
That's fair.
How many tests does Murali Kartik even play?
That can't be that many. I don't know if India would do it, but would you, like, if you're Australia, would you put your eye on Ashwin in that point? Like, 2010 period?
Sorry, say that again?
I don't know if India would ever trade him, but around 2010, if you're Australia, would you not want Ashwin? What would you give up for Ashwin if you're Australia?
Yeah. We're assuming that India, how much is, you have to tell me what India rates him for.
Who,
like,
Ashwin?
How much do they rate him in 2010, do you think?
He has his great first class season, and they think he's probably a really good bowler. I don't know if they think he's a legendary bowler by then.
I mean, I think if I'm Australia, because he can bat a little bit, I'm trading him for Siddle.
Easily, right? I wonder if India want more, right? If he could bat, maybe another seamer on top of that.
Yeah, but that's when can you not then throw in all the flotsam, right?
Yeah.
Of all those other guys that we mentioned before.
It would be a horrible trade by India in hindsight, but they might do it at that point.
Yeah.
If they're desperate. You right?
Also, they've got Jadeja coming through, yeah?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
So there must be a part in their head where they're like, they've still got Harbhajan, right? They've got Harbhajan, Murali, Oja, Jadeja. If they're not too high, I mean, if I'm Australia, I bite your hand off for Ashwin, I think, in 2010, because he's tall. So the problem I have with Murali Kartik is he's short.
That's fair. And he also gives
in
you
Australian
batting.
wickets, I'd rather have the tallest spinner. So at that stage, I'm like, but as I said also, I'm not as high on Siddle as they were. I just think they were a lot higher on Siddle than I was. So it's tough. It also, a lot of this depends on what Australia thinks of Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark and Pattinson, right? And I can tell you, they thought they were all going to be the 4 best fast bowlers of all time, right? So realistically, getting rid of Siddle and using Ryan Harris in the Siddle role until one of those guys is ready is probably fine. And but if I'm Australia, I'm probably still trying to rinse something else because I'm like, this is our frontline bowler and this is your backup bowler. I'm still trying to rinse something else out of that trade if it's Murali Kartik. If it's Ashwin, I might just be like, he's tall and he can bat. Fine, we'll take a punt.
Right.
But he hasn't played cricket, and by that stage, Siddle's taken a lot of test wickets.
That's true. Yeah, it is a gamble, isn't it? At that point, you're Australia, you're gambling on a young talent, right?
Yeah. So maybe even then, I still think if I'm Australia, what I'm really offering is just depth of fast bowling, right? Because Australia's got guys like McGoffin who goes off and takes up a billion wickets in county cricket, right? You could offer India 5 backup seamers, who would still might be, as you said, the 3rd and 4th best seamers in some situations.
Yeah. I think that's it. All right, folks, that's all for today.
Oh my God.
We had a long podcast. I think we had a lot of fun. Make sure to bookmark goodareas.co. It's the one-stop shop for everything Good Areas. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Brian Lara used pot plants to work on his placement. John Wright glued his glove to his bat. Sachin Tendulkar dug up practice pictures. Tatenda Taibu cut the top off his bat. Claire Taylor used a hockey grip. Steve Smith was from tennis. Dean Jones would call phantom runs. And Victor Trumper turned the nets into a war zone to survive. The best batters in the world do whatever they have to make runs. We have told their stories in our new book, The Art of Batting.